All right, good morning. It's 5:25 on a Saturday morning, November 5th. Um, Wanted to spend some time this morning creating a video on more of a theory that I've got about team building, what makes a great team. And this is not been completely fleshed out. That's why I said it's more of a theory. But I've got a theory that crisis builds camaraderie. Camaraderie is necessary, or unity is necessary to have a great team. If you don't have everybody on a tight knit level, collectively, you got individuals or individual cliques. Um, it doesn't allow you to have that synergy that's necessary to move together in a large, forceful way, um, which ultimately leads to championships and great teams. So this and this kind of comes from my experience on athletic teams, carried into businesses a little bit. But when I look back on my championship teams or the great teams that I played on, one of them was my sophomore year in high school. I played hockey in Michigan competitively, and we were an underdog, an independent team in Michigan in major AAA, and they didn't even let us in the league. So we were a team that was coming up from AA to AAA, and we had applied, from what I understand and remember, we had applied to get into uh, the predominant midget major AAA league, and they denied us. And so we spent that entire season as an independent team. We just went and traveled and scrimmaged and played tournaments, but we didn't have regular season. But when it came to the state tournament, anybody can enter the Michigan State tournament because they just want your money. And so they're like, yeah, sure, come on in. You can play. So we were the lowest seeded team. And we obviously were playing the top ranked team, CompuWare, at this time. And, we had spent the entire season as, roaming nomads. This team, a bunch of hacks, a bunch of, we didn't have a home, kind of, we didn't have a league. But one thing that we did get is we got this camaraderie. We were a team that was well connected in terms of, how we played and hung out. And yeah. And we didn't have a great, in terms of the tournaments and all this other stuff, any scrimmages we had, we didn't have a great season. And we didn't win it. I don't remember winning any tournaments. So it wasn't like we had an outstanding outing leading up to the state tournament. So they were probably right in seeding us the lowest team in the league, or in the tournament. And so we play CompuWare, and this is another thing that fascinates me is those games that just individuals play phenomenally. Just, we used to say because I played goalie, a goalie would stand on his head, which I don't know why that's the saying, but when a goalie just plays really well, you're like, man, he stood on his head. And I had one of those games, faced over 50 shots. We ended up winning that game 1-0. And then our team, we continued that momentum throughout the rest of the tournament. We won game after game after game. We played collectively. We played unified. We played with a passion and just in business, we say we were in flow. In sports, we say we were in the zone. And it just carried us to great performance game after game. And we ended up making it back we made it to the final game, and we played CompuWare again. And we played them well. I think we lost 5-3 or something. They were a much more talented team. And I believe that your demonstrated capacity, vision, and goals, and your leadership are all aspects that make a great team. And when it came time, push came to shove in the championship, they were able to band more of that together, and they beat us. But another time was in college. We had, just come off our 2007 season, losing the MAC championship at home. And we came back with fire in our bellies and just this determination to win. We're a team made up of predominantly seniors and juniors, and yeah, we were focused. And then we had a crisis. We had a moment. We had something happen in our team during the fall that really made us question ourselves and our team. And we worked through that as a team, and it wasn't by choice. It wasn't that any of the players made a decision that hindered our forward progress. It was kind of an external situation that we were brought into, that we had no choice in the matter. We just were confronted with it and then had to deal with it as a team. And so a lot of our identity came out in that. A lot of the questions of how do you really want this came out. And we had to confront those in the fall before the season even started. And, the way we handled that, it just brought us together. It could have been something that was a wedge and drove us apart. It could have been something that created cliques and divisions and individuals. But it brought us together. It created camaraderie and unity. And so I've always had this, like, is it necessary for a great team to go through crisis so that they can build camaraderie at the highest level, at a higher level, that will allow them to be a championship team? And I don't know that I've got that answer. I don't know that you have to go through crisis to build camaraderie. I think there's other ways around it, and maybe that's in the leadership. One of the things I believe is in the Pareto principle, which is essentially the 80-20 rule, which you'll find in so many different ways in life. Business, athletics, anatomy, biology, all the 80-20 rule. But it essentially states that 80% of your outcomes are generated by 20% of your inputs. And so I believe that, if you got a team of 25, that means five of those individuals have to operate at a high level, at the highest level, and they'll steer the ship. So if they're as committed as they are, will determine the level that the others around them rise to. And so I believe too that maybe it's the leadership that can build this unity and this camaraderie outside of crisis. Crisis maybe just puts you in the fire faster and really refines you as individuals and you as a team, so it can accelerate the process. Perhaps it can force the process. And maybe that's what happened to us our senior year. It just forced us, because sometimes you get into the season, it's game 12 and you've lost. We started that season, that same 2008 season, after we had gone through the fire in the fall, we started off 0-17. And so we didn't have to wait to start this refining process till we were 0-17. We had already been doing this. But any team, specifically baseball teams at this point, you're still in fall ball, you're doing individuals, you're doing weight training. How is the leadership addressing the unity and camaraderie on the team? What are you doing to build that? Another thing that we did on our team was freshmen came in or first year players came in, us older guys would essentially take a younger guy under our wing, and they became our throwing partners. So Zach Leonard was my throwing partner my freshman year, which couldn't have had a better freshman. And he was basically my guy. It was like, hey man, let me teach you what I've learned over the last 4 seasons since I've been here. Let me just help you along this journey, help you acclimate, and make you feel part of the team, because there is that ostracization that can happen with young guys or new guys. So, what are you doing? What's the leadership doing? What are the older guys doing on the team that's building unity and camaraderie? Are you hoping that it just happens? Are you nonchalant about if it's going to happen? I hope it happens. Maybe it don't happen. Maybe it won't. Don't really care. Don't really like the guy. Rather just focus on my stats. That's what we see a lot of times on teams, and that's what separates great teams from mediocre teams, from bad teams. Is, I believe, this element plays into that. So when you think about, because unity, with vision being in goals being paramount, and I'll do another video specifically around just setting goals and vision. But when you as a team aren't unified and you're not all moving in the same direction, you got a bunch of individuals or you got groups, it's going to be really difficult for you guys to make it click, to get into the zone or get into flow, and to perform at a high caliber. Because the term synergy is one that, if you've got the capacity of one and it's equal to the capacity of the other one, and you put them together, you don't have 2, you have 3. And this is another thing that I believe is that we can do more when we're unified and together than we could separately. And it's not just 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 3 or 4 or 5. And then when you can get more involved in that equation, the better. That's my dog, by the way. So as leadership, you've got to be committed to camaraderie. And if you're not addressing this, you're going to miss out on marvelous opportunities to take your team to another level. So hope that helped this morning, and stay tuned for other episodes. Till next time, let's go.